Alright, I'm going to stay off the trestle again. A, we've done plenty enough videos over there. B, it's another beautiful day as you can see, so it's going to be crowded. So we're just going to try some oddball stuff. Stop number 1, right out the mouth of the canal, the north end of the twin span. Fish number 1. Let's see what kind of day we're going to have today. Him in the chin. Pretty rare to get a throwback right here. This is usually a spot I fish for nice big, 2 and 3 pounders a lot of times, but got a few throwbacks right now. The Pearl River's been high. When you get fresh water, it typically means the fish can be a little bit smaller. If you get saltier years, they get bigger, but nevertheless, getting some bites.
Tattooed it, boy. That fish tattooed it. These are great eating size fish. If the limit was still 12, these all would be keepers. I'm going to have to put the measuring stick on him. Using a Midnight Mullet Matrix. That's like a purplish hue tint with this one's got a lot of glitter, great flash in the water with a clear belly. So whenever I'm fishing this bridge and also the causeway, these are almost identical. They got big round pollens that support the bridge. I like to try and throw it through the pollens. It's a kind of a tight cast, so your casting accuracy's got to be good to make that cast. So if I'm at this angle where the boat's positioned where I can slip a cast through a pollen set, I really like to do that. Then, once the boat is at a different angle, I'll show you a different cast I like to make. These fish typically are going to be glued to the pollens. So casting accuracy and keeping it close to the pollens is important. So if I'm at this boat angle, I'm going to run it parallel to the pollens, and I want that lure to come right down them. Just going to make some little pops right down the bridge pollens. Now the boat's starting to swing past it. That's what you want. Got a bunch of fish here. They're not very big. Yeah, I could come here tomorrow and it'd be all 16, 17 inches. So I just wanted to give this a look. I'm glad to see life on the bridge, but I wish the fish were a little bit bigger. Alright, so that fish was the left side of the pollens. Let's see if they got a school of them on the right side. So I'm going to throw it up underneath. I put my rod tip to the left like that when the lure hits the water to try and keep the slack close to the bridge pollens. If I put it on this side, it's just going to, when I'm retrieving it, it's going to drag the lure away from the bridge. You don't want that. You want to keep that lure close to the bridge at all times. And that goes to say this is identical for you folks that live closer to the causeway and you've been wanting to give it a try and you don't know how to fish it. Well, this is how you do it right here. So, there's no point in me running from Slidell all the way to the causeway to give you guys a little technique tip, because the bridge is set up the same, and this is how you do it out there too. So my first cast, I try to shoot it through the little gap. I missed there, it hit the bridge, but where it landed in the water was still in a fairly good spot, so I'm going to finish out the retrieve. And then my next cast, as the boat gets closer, I'm going to throw it to that back pollen. I'm going to use the boat to help my cast too. I'm going to push the boat this way. That way when I bring it down these pollens, The boat's going this way, which is going to help me keep the lure close to the bridge pilings throughout the entire cast. Alright, so we comb that pretty good. And then as your lure comes past the back piling, it's not a bad idea to let it sweep and get in front of that last piling. We comb those three, not a bite. Now I'm going to rub these pilings, these 3 poles again on the right side. Tide's coming in right now, so it's coming from east to west. So I always like to throw it to get these perfect angled casts and to jig that lure and graze these pilings and rub it. You really want to be fishing with the current. Throwing against it's going to be a lot harder. Alright, well that was the first piling without a fish. And if these fish don't go up in size, we're going to have to move. Let's see here. Well, 2 pilings in a row without a fish. Looks like it. Oh, he was way off. Again, look at these fish. That is super small for Lake Pontchartrain and super small for this particular spot. But that could be the males coming in first and maybe the females will be behind it. These are very small for this particular spot. I usually catch some really nice fish here. I'm very surprised it's the little males like that. See what's on the back side of this piling. Oh, good bite, but I felt him a little. Again, it didn't feel like a very big one. Okay, there's your keeper. What we got here? And that fish was way off the bridge. That was a bad cast I made. Oh yeah. Now look at that, guys. Dink, dink, dink. And then a legitimate Pontchartrain mule. I mean, that's a 17, 18-inch fish. I'm using that midnight mullet today. This is a size fish that typically this is all I catch when I come here. Midnight mullet, you know, before we get shrimp really in the waters here, they're still on finfish. One of the biggest food chain supplies for these beautiful speckled trout like this is little finger mullets. This is a good little color imitation for it. And a 3-inch matrix shad, and that's a beauty there, baby. Alright. About 5 or 7 sets of poles without a bite, so too pretty of a day to sit here and grind on something. Today's the type of day that I use to scout, look around, slick calm, bluebird sky, just your optimal fishing day. So let's take this midnight mullet, take a little ride. Let's see what this lake's got going on. Just had a little cold front come through, a late front for that, you know, late spring. You know, it's cold enough to wear jeans today and a sweater. Probably have to shed some clothing a little bit later. That's why we're starting on the north end. Water's nice and clean here. Cold fronts produce north winds, so the south end of the lake will get better as the day goes on, or maybe tomorrow, but we'll probably stay on the north shore today, see what's going on.
All right, moved down just a little bit, got off the old bridge. Now we're gonna work the new one just like we did last week, but instead of being way down south, we got a nice incoming tide today. I'm gonna try the high rise part. Good start to it. Nice fish, way nicer than what we were catching on the old bridge. Let's see what's going on here.
Look at that one. Got him gut hooked. I swear I do that all the time. I think those fish are just hovering over the lure, inspecting it. And when I go to pop it, it gets them. But that's a keeper. Caught him pretty far off the bridge. And when you're fishing the twin span, like the new one, I like to make some casts and rub it down the poles like we were just talking. But I also find on this particular bridge, for whatever reason, they'll get kind of far off the bridge. So I'll make some casts and let that current sweep off the poles like we showed you on the last one we were down on the south end. All right, well, caught like 7 or 8 fish so far. That one's starting to get a little torn up. Put a fresh one on. A lot of people know how to rig this matrix correctly, but I do see it rigged wrong sometimes. You go about a ½ inch in, push it up all the way to the head of the hook. Tail's going to be pointing down, hook's going to come out the flat part. So just remember that. Either way is fine. It's still going to swim good in the water. But that, what I just showed you, is the natural way to rig the lure correctly. All right, one of the main reasons I like the high-rise part is when it starts getting up high, you have more of these spans that are like those X's. And I've discussed this before. It's more pylons. It's more current protection. I feel like the trout like them a little bit more. So, and then another thing they have under the high rise, they got these big cement blocks. Oh, there he is. Up a ways, close as where the highest part is. They got these big square blocks that really provide a tremendous current break. Nice fish. Nice fish. Get that one in a second. Let's get another cast out there. But then blocks really provide a current break, but these cross beam pylons, they're very effective too. So I like to go all the way down to the south end when that tide's dead. And then if it's a nice, nice tide where it's reaching the whole end of the lake coming through here good, the high rise is another great place to try your luck. It just kind of shows you guys, like, I'm sure the people on the trestle are catching fish right now. Like, I definitely would be surprised if they're not. But it's not the only place to catch fish. I mean, there's one boat up there, way up there. There's none behind me. I mean, we got 21 miles of bridge out here. Or add another 5 if you want to double this, since it's 2 spans. And 95% of the fishermen simply go to the trestle. And it's just mind-blowing to me that it's so overfished and these are so underfished. It's just amazing. I'm just the type personally where I would rather, even if I'm catching half of what they're catching over there, I'd rather catch half and have some solitude than just be amongst a gazillion boats. And there's going to be people with live bait over there, so that's going to make it harder on you to catch them with plastics. Trollers are going up and down. People be spot locked, trolling. I mean, everybody's pretty relatively courteous for the most part. The trestle, it's one of them places it's going to get a lot of boats, but the people over there, they're used to it. It's known for that. I like to fish the trestle before the word gets out, and then once it gets out, just go to all of these other gazillion places we show y'all on DockSide TV every year. You You got all these other bridges, the causeway, the eastern shoreline of Pontchartrain. We fish so much of that, the hospital wall. You got the reefs out by Bayou Lacombe. You got reefs west of the causeway, all those old wellheads and reefs out in front of Kenner. Seabrook gets some fish this time of year. Got rigs out in Lake Bourne, especially on a nice calm day like this. So, you know, I will go to the trestle when it's peaked out like right now this time of year, but I usually go when the weather's turbulent. Maybe it's calling for some thunderstorms. Definitely a weekday when I know it's not going to be too crowded. A day like today where it's slick calm or almost slick calm and bluebird skies, I'm not going anywhere near it. It's not happening. These are the perfect days to go scouting around, see what you can find out here. There she is, baby. Oh, yeah. The good eating. The good eating. The good eats, huh, Simba? Oh, you ain't getting that. That's mine, Simba. That's mine. Simba trying to get a bite of one of my favorite fish to eat out here. We'll go ahead and end it on that one. Just nice, quick, short, and sweet. Gave you 2 more spots to fish. The old twin span used to be one of my favorite places to fish out here in Pontchartrain. Now we only got a couple 100 yards of pilings left. The new twin span, pretty good place to fish. I mean, it's not as good as the trestle, but again, total solitude, virtually snagless. I very rarely lose a jig head here. It's got beautiful trout. It's got flounder. You got it to yourself. Just totally love this bridge whenever the other ones get crowded. But it's a beautiful day. Hope you learned something on this episode of DockSide TV. Subscribe to your monthly bait box. Get your hands on these midnight mullets. Fabulous color. This is one of the 3 originals. When we started MatrixShad.com back in 2010, this Shrimp Creole Lemonhead. This is one of the first 3 amigos. You'll be getting that in your monthly bait box. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys. We do all kinds of different things, just like I'm going to go do now. When I finish this video, I'm going to keep looking around and hopefully maybe shoot another DockSide TV today. Until next time, guys, good fishing.